Thanks, Shrey. That was good. Vijay, can you start with the presentation? So yesterday when I came over here, that photograph has nothing to do with my presentation, by the way. That's just, I found it funny. So yesterday when I came over here, I had written like a very long motivational speech. I figured, okay, I'm going to go there, I'm going to inspire some people. And the problem with being a comedian is as soon as I went in and I met these guys, they're like, so tell us a joke. Have you prepared something funny? So that's the sort of expectation you deal with. So obviously I had to sit up all night and come up with a completely new thing which might or might not make sense. I'm also a little, I'd like to thank Isaac for inviting me here. I was looking at the list of speakers and there are a lot of distinguished people who've spoken over the last 2 days, and I sort of didn't know where I fit in. I don't know if I was there just for comic relief, if I'm supposed to do a show. I haven't had a lot of massive achievements in life, so to speak. But now that I'm here, you have no option but to listen to me. So, might as well get used to it. I'm just going to go quickly move into the presentation. Vijay, if you can just go to the first slide. So what the presentation is going to be about, is going to be about me saying random things. And yeah, that's it. Can we go move on, please? Yeah. So who am I? A lot of you will not know who I am, and that is perfectly fine. If I want to put a philosophical spin to it, a lot of people, even by the time they're 50, do not know who the hell they are. So for you to know who I am, I'm just going to talk through a little bit about what I do. My name is Gursimran Khamba. My religion is Sikh, or as the RSS says, Hindu. My height is 6'3". Bust is 28. My advice to you is do not drink soya milk for men. Languages spoken are Hindi, English, and I grew up in... I grew up in Punjab and then I moved to Delhi, so you can imagine why that happened. I'm an underpaid stand-up comic. I have a blog called jkhamba.com, which is where I talk about things. I have a Twitter feed which is jkhamba, which is basically where I tweet a lot of jokes. And as you can read the last one. Also, there is this thing called the India Influencers List, which is basically a top 100 people in the country who have influence over the Indian internet. I'm number 76 on it. The good thing is that Shahid Kapoor is number 79. So, supposedly that makes me very cool, and which is probably why these guys invited me. The thing also with these conferences is that, people don't really remember the content. People just remember, yeah, that guy was very cool. And that guy was damn boring. So I'm going to basically try over the next 20 minutes to sound as cool as possible. Can you click again, please? Now the thing is, when they gave me the topic about Akkal, Badaam and whatever the hell that was, the idea is that Akkal is a very subjective term. I wanted to, if I started unpacking and deconstructing that, the name of the session, which is Akkal, badaam, khane, laat, aati, it would turn into a very long 3-hour philosophical debate about what it means to be intelligent or what hypocrisy means. Let me give you a couple of examples. For a poor person to be able to buy a Tata Nano for 1 lakh is an extremely stupid thing for a rich person who buys a bag for 1.5 lakhs, right? It's just different. Or let's look at the education system, for example. The IITs are considered the pinnacle of Indian education, and everybody basically aspires to go into the IITs, right? Over the last 5 years, there have been 8 suicides in the IITs, right? The number of people who have committed suicide in the IITs is 8. The number of people who had sex in IIT is 0. But when these 8 suicides happened, in Kanpur, I think, not Kanpur. I think it was Bombay or Kanpur, I don't remember which one. But in one of the IITs, 2 students committed suicide by hanging themselves from the ceiling fans. Now, what the IIT management decided to do was, how do we prevent suicides? So they decided in the boys' dormitory, they decided to remove the ceiling fan from every dorm. This is a true story. So the point I'm trying to make is that akkal is a very subjective term. I'm going to get a little bit darker. Untouchability is a big thing in India, right? Untouchability has been practiced since the inception of our nation, so to speak, before we were even a nation actually. At the same time, if you look at the Dalit example, the people who are considered untouchables actually are the biggest victims of physical violence and rape. Do you see the irony in that? Akkal is a very subjective thing. I'm going to become even a little bit darker. I hope all of you guys don't get offended. Satya Sai Baba, I'm an atheist by the way, so I'm not a believer. Right? I am willing to forgive all the miracles Satya Sai Baba has done in his entire life if he can only answer, someone can only answer one question. The watch which he gives, uska warranty card kahan hai? Or if the watch is magical, why does it say made in China? Why does it always have to be a Rolex? Why not a Rado? Why not a Timex? But still millions of people believe in religion and millions of people believe in him and they follow it, right? Akkal is a very subjective term. Just because a lot of people believe in it does not make it right. I don't want to dwell on this a lot more because the only thing I want to show you guys in terms of just how tough this session was, in terms of how the session was termed and how it was packed, that if we get into this, we're gonna move into phases which I only have 20 minutes, so we cannot really go, but we can talk about this offline once the session is over. So instead of the akkal bit, I'm going to basically move into the other thing, which is experiential learning. What are the things, I don't know what are the other things people have spoken to you about over the last 2 days, but because it's a young audience, and I'm just 25 by the way, so I'm just going to give you over the course of the next few slides, things that I've learned, and things which I think you guys should be following as young people. It's a bit didactic, I know. So these are the kind of things which you will learn over the course of experience, so these are the things you should be following. So let's just go over the slides. This is my first point. For some people, from the advent of Blackberries and through cell phones, the whole concept of language, and by the way, language preceded human beings, right? Human beings enter a situation of learning a language. A language is more superior in terms of its construct than a human being. But for some reason, young people nowadays have destroyed what has taken millions and millions of centuries to take the shape it has and reduced it to this. As young people who are going forward in life, I urge you and tell you that life is not Facebook. Stop typing like this. It's fucking annoying. Sorry for dropping the F-bomb. I'll give you examples of 2 conversations which I saw on my Facebook to give you an example of how people talk. HBD is happy birthday. If you're such close friends with that person on Facebook that you will take out 3 seconds of your life to type HBD, they should probably not be on your list to begin with. TX is thanks. How are you? F9 is apparently fine. I did not know this. Apparently I'm getting too old. KEWL is cool. And the second conversation was the exact same thing. So the point I'm trying to make is, please do not destroy language. As young people, please do not destroy language. This applies both to the English language and this applies also to your vernacular. Can you move on to the next one? This is my second piece of advice to you, which I hope all of you guys follow. Facebook won't solve the world's problems. Can we go to the next slide? These are, as young people, the current list of issues we are solving as of right now. This is what we are all solving together right now. Because for some reason, apparently liking a status on Facebook means you've done your socially responsible thing of the day. Like, I've been associated with some movements as a part of my college life. I don't know how many of you would remember the 2006 reservation campaign, the anti-reservation campaign that was going on when the government wanted to increase the reservation to central universities. I was one of the 5 people who went and met Abdul Kalam, and we petitioned. We had about 1.5 lakh signatures to be able to do that. It was some very real, practical, physical, on-the-ground work. A lot of young people now, maybe because it's cynicism, maybe because it's the fact that there's no other outlet for you to let out your feelings, that the idea has become that through Facebook and through outraging on Facebook, that you've sort of done your responsibility. Putting an India Against Corruption badge on your Facebook profile is not going to change anything. So my advice to you is to, instead of getting stuck up in things like these, find one cause. You are not Superman. You're not going to solve like 30 of the world's problems together. Find what appeals to you. See what makes the most sense to you, and get working on the ground. Find networks who you can work with. Find people who can support you with doing that. But do not think Facebook is going to cause the world's next revolution, and do not think Facebook is going to change the world for you. This is my third point. For some reason in our country, we have a crunch of role models, and we tolerate mediocrity. I'll give you an example. Chetan Bhagat being the largest selling author in our country does not make sense to me. Does not make sense to me. Sania Mirza being celebrated as the biggest thing that has ever happened to women's tennis does not make sense to me. She's only been like number 35 or something in the world, for crying out loud. But for some reason, we've just got left with such few role models in our day-to-day life that whatever little thing someone achieves becomes our benchmark. As a country, we are so starved for role models that when Norah Jones wins a Grammy, who has absolutely nothing to do with India except Ravi Shankar's sperm like 30 years ago, we will put her on the front page of mainstream newspapers and say, oh man, she's Indian. We have to aspire to do that. And I see that with reality TV shows now. Going on a reality TV show is not going to change your life. It's not going to help you to prove something to yourself. The only thing you're proving is system. They make a lot of money. The joke in my family is that my sis is the capitalist and I'm the socialist. Which is why I'm poorer. And in my current generation of cousins, I have one cousin in Spain. She is a professional flute player. I have another cousin in Delhi. He plays football and has been consistently screwed over by the Delhi State Association because you need to have a political agenda to get into your team. I do stand-up comedy, which is not really a profession. Like, no girl will want to date you if you say you're a comedian. Because there is no job security. So, there's no future. But the point I'm trying to make is that it sort of does not make sense to me how our entire education system has sort of warped into doing an MBA, becoming an investment banker, and then supposedly shifting to New York because that's where all the money is. The conversation seems to have shifted from what it means to be happy to what do I need to do to make a lot of money, where happiness is an eventuality which might happen by the time I'm 45 because I'll have a lot of money. And I don't understand how so many of our young people are just so happy to be a part of a corporate machinery where you are treated like nothing more than a statistic, basically. You're a part of a huge web where you're extremely replaceable, where you have no individual value of your own, where if you are a trader or if you are an analyst, if something happens to you, another guy is going to replace you the next day because there are 500 in line. But it's become a supply chain, and it's become a supply chain which all of us sort of walk into without even realizing, is this something I really want to do? is this what my passion is? I hate using the word passion, but is this something I really want to do? Let me give you an example. When I was 21, I was working in Isaac in Poland. I came back from Poland and I had a big plan in my head that by the time I'm 30, I'm going to finish my PhD. There's nothing to laugh about. It's a good plan. It's a plan that a lot of people have. By 23, I got the European Union scholarship to go and study at the LSE. And I was working with NGOs, so I was supposed to do development studies. I got sick, I got a tuberculosis infection, which is not a sexy disease, so nobody takes it seriously. Yeah. Unless you have cancer nowadays and lose your hair, nobody really takes you seriously. Even though tuberculosis actually, for example, is the largest killer in India. Like 1 person dies of tuberculosis in India every 3 minutes. By the time I'm talking, 5 people have died. Just to give you an example. So I got the disease, I actually could not go. And it was for me probably the most earth-shattering moment in my life. I was also going through like a really bad breakup. And I had just lost someone in my family like 3 months back who was really close to me. And at that point I was like, I had to reassess in terms of what I really want to do. For 6 months, I was so low that the only thing I used to do was go to YouTube and watch videos of stand-up because I wanted to make myself laugh. And I started writing, which is how the blog came into being. And someone sort of discovered me online, so to speak, this comedian called Rajneesh Kapoor. And that's how I actually got into stand-up, because I wanted to make myself laugh. And so now, as a profession, even though I might not be making the millions and millions of rupees which MBA students make, the fact that you've sort of come so close to your own mortality, and the fact that you make people laugh, which is probably, I think, the best feeling ever to see other people laugh, just makes so much more sense in life than seeing, for example, my own sis who does a 9 to 8 job, but might be making 4 times more money, but it's just not happy. So my point to you is assess at this age, because a lot of you are young and a lot of you have your entire lives ahead of you, assess what you really want to do and do not become another blind person who is just a part of the herd. That's all I'm trying to say. Next slide, please. Embrace tolerance. I'm going to give you an example. Right now, I'm also studying at, I decided to take a 2-year break and get back to studies. So right now, I'm at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai. I'm going to give you an example because this just happened 10 days ago. Can you move to the next slide? Don't go yet. A lot of my stand-up is actually not very accessible to mainstream corporate gigs and all of that, because I basically talk about politics and religion, which are considered very taboo subjects. I'm going to give you like 3 examples of sort of like the kind of jokes I make. So this is the first one. I'm just going to, you can read it. I'm going to do the second one. Move to the third one. Why do I bring up these 3 quotes? These are just random quotes as a part of a 20-minute thing I do about how religion makes people stupid. Now, in India, when you talk about religion, you can take 2 positions. 2 positions of secularism. One position of secularism is that you hate every religion equally. The second position is the other extreme, that you love all religions equally, which is why you can't talk shit about anything. Now, at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, which is considered the finest social science institute in the country, supposedly, it's a great place. I did the set where some people from the RSS wing on campus got offended. And they started shooting an email amongst the student union and the community and the faculty that how was one, they didn't see the other 2, they picked up the middle one, saying why was Hinduism targeted like this. By the way, for the first line, I have gotten death threats from Sikh people also, for a joke. Like, Indians are just so freaking, oh, I see a joke, I want to kill you. I have never seen this ever before. It boggles my mind in terms of how intolerant we've become in terms of just taking a joke. Forget the fact that this is a joke. You know, a lot of times I can get away with murder because I'm a stand-up comedian. And the problem with being a stand-up comedian is, even if you are trying to say something really serious, people will not take you seriously because they think, oh, he's just a comedian. But that also gives you the license to say a lot of things and get away with a lot of things. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you pick up something like this, when you pick up issues of politics, when you pick up issues of religion, the more we think that we're getting progressive and the more we think we're becoming tolerant, we're actually not. As a nation, and I can say this personally because I've performed all across the country, the kind of reactions I get to these seemingly innocuous, these are very innocuous jokes, like extremely innocuous jokes, it boggles my mind. People just immediately go to death threat and mob, and we will kill you and how dare you say that. As young people, a lot of your opinions will be formed based on the kind of people you hang out with, based on the kind of politics you follow, and based on the kind of politics that make sense to you, which you see from the television screen. All I'm trying to say is question it, and all I'm trying to say is embrace tolerance. Because the more I see and the more I interact with young people, and I've been doing this since the time I was in ISEC, and since 17 years old, so it was like 8 years ago, I see young people becoming more and more tolerant and more sharply divided in terms of following their own position. Do not do that. By the way, if any of you didn't like one of these statements, don't kill me, but we can talk about it later. Next slide, please. It's okay to fail and for plans to change, which I've already spoken about. I told you how I got into stand-up comedy. It was completely not a part of my plan at all. Like nobody in India, very few people in India get up and say, you know what, I want to make a career making people laugh. My dad, by the way, still doesn't know what I do for a living. Like, this is 6 months into after I had started performing. One day he comes and says, "Acha, tum karte kya ho? Chutkule sunate ho?" This is actual fact. A lot of people will tell you this, and you should be fine. Like, I'm 25 right now. I'm the oldest person in my class. I get very freaked out because everyone in my master's program is like 20 and 21. You feel like a pedophile sometimes. But it's okay for plans to fail, and it's okay for plans to change. But the only thing the disclaimer I want to add to this is, don't settle for less. Don't settle for mediocrity. If you want to hit an IIM, keep hitting an IIM. Don't settle for an IIPM. I like to call it the Indian Institute of Ponytail Management, but or फिर Pakistan Pashtun Management or something. This is my other option. Fall in love with not the Bollywood kind. I think Bollywood has fucked up our young people. No offense. But like, our notions of love and what it means to be in love and what it means to have a normal conversation with someone who you are remotely attracted to is shaped by an extreme Bollywood perspective. Like, I've been on dates where I think the girl expected me to buy her a chiffon sari and take her to Switzerland in the next week. And it's creepy. Why I say fall in love? Why I say fall in love is not because of the fact that yes, you're young and, you know, all of you fall in love with someone new once a week, whatever. Hey, it happens, guys. Hormones. But the point I'm trying to make is, I'm going to go back to the blog again. You remember I told you I was sick and I broke up and I had an extreme sense of loss? The first 6 months I was blogging was basically because of hate. If some of you guys check out my website, I want you to see how the articles on my website from like last year. It's just angry stuff. This is all sort of just ranting coming out from all sorts of places. But the reason I tell you to fall in love is because it's going to teach you two things about yourself. It's going to teach you the best person you can be, but more importantly, it's going to teach you the worst person you can be. How desperate you get. Especially at the age of 20, 21, because when you're with someone at the age of 20, 21, you're like, yes, you are the one for me, and yes, we will fucking change the world together, and you know, all of that happens, because because you've been fed those notions of Bollywood that yes, you will fall in love and that has to be for eternity and all of that. All of that is lies, by the way. But you will learn a lot. Like, you need to experience what it feels like, you know, to have your feet touching the person you love when you wake up in the morning. You need to see how desperate you get when things go bad. And these are sort of life lessons which will teach you so much about yourself which other experiences will not teach you. Like, I'm a lot more secure and a much better person than I was 4 years ago when I actually experienced it the first time. So I hope you do. That doesn't mean you like randomly now go out and say, hey, I want to fall in love with you because I want to know how I am. If it happens, don't create a false construct of what it means. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's it. That's all the lessons I have for you guys. Thank you, and I know it's hard for you to stay awake post lunch, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Yeah, that's it for me. Thanks. Yeah, so now we're sort of open, both of us, Shrey and I, open to questions. If any of you have questions about anything about in the presentation, you're going to pass the mic around? Okay.
Gursimran, I have a question for you,
sure,
and for Shrey as well. Like,
okay.
First of all, I want to congratulate for your presentation.
Thanks.
Who is your idol for you? And Shrey, what is success for you?
You want to go for it? Go.
For me, success is being happy. I think that is it. Yeah.
My idol is actually someone, I don't know how many of you follow stand-up, but my idol is someone called Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks has been probably one of the most influential comics of our generation. He sadly died at the age of 32 from pancreatic cancer, but he was an absolute legend. And he was probably one of the few people after George Carlin and stuff who broke the mold in terms of bringing controversial subjects and making them mainstream and being able to talk about it. Like, for me, the day we sort of, there's a lot of talk about India becoming a developed country. I think we'll have truly developed mentally when we have it in ourselves to be able to debate issues the way it got debated by people like Hicks in the mid-90s. I urge all of you to go check out his YouTube videos if he hasn't. He's an absolutely mind-blowing genius.